How's it going, Yankee fans? My name is Alex, my co-host here, Nick Nielsen, and today we're going to discuss the Yankees calling up, or prospectively calling up, Ronald Guzman from the minor league system, from Scranton, to supplement the loss of Anthony Rizzo. Now, we saw Marwin Gonzalez featuring at first base yesterday. He dropped a ball that was seemingly in his glove. IKF could have helped him out a little bit and hit him in the chest, but I'll tell you what, that when the ball hits your glove, you probably should not be dropping it at the professional league level. And I think that they kind of wanted a little bit more depth, some more experience at the first base position with Rizzo receiving an epidural over the weekend and I guess feeling some headaches from it and just kind of working his way back. So I expect him to kind of return maybe later this week or over the upcoming weekend. This extra day off probably goes a long way. They kind of want some more support and Guzman behind just I guess behind the regular guys, and hopefully he doesn't have to play too much. But with the injuries kind of hitting the infield right now and the inconsistencies, getting some fresh blood in there might not actually be a bad thing. But Nick, what is your, I guess, perception of Ronald Guzman here? What he can offer this team? Why he's getting the chance ultimately? He has 4 years of experience at the MLB level with Texas a couple of years ago. Didn't really provide much, but there's some value there. He's performing well with Scranton this year.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. He's been quite good at Scranton, and I know everyone likes to talk about how the jump from AAA to MLB is a very big jump. Of course, naturally. I mean, but over the last month, I believe, I think I want to make sure I get this number correct. Let me pull it up. Yeah. So over his last 30 games, he's slashing 370, 440, 740. Good for an 1179 OPS with 8 home runs and 13 doubles. So like if we can get any of that for the next couple of games, or maybe this is just they call him up because we have a doubleheader tomorrow, so he's the extra man. Maybe there is no IL move. But at the same time, I do worry because Rizzo in the back and everything, it just is not looking good right now. So maybe they just say, to the IL you go. We're literally going to keep you there for basically 80% of September. And then we're going to have you come back for the last week of games so that way you can ramp back up to game speed, which I'm fine with. Honestly, keep the guys healthy. Same thing with Stanton. Like they said that Stanton fouled a pitch off of his foot, but you watch that at bat and there was none fouled off his foot. It looked like he just like swung and whiffed and kind of like strained something. And they're just trying to cover it up and say that he hit it off his foot. But this team's got to get healthy, man. I'm fine with Ronald Guzman getting the opportunity right now, but if it gets to end of September and I'm still seeing Ronald Guzman taking at bats, I'm going to be pissed because it's like we had the opportunity to go out there and get one of Olsen or Freeman from the free agent market. Both guys have been healthy all season long, even if Matt Olson's having a bit of a down campaign. He's still been very solid, great first base defense as well. And his contract is very team friendly. So like looking back at that now and seeing Rizzo continue to battle with the backs and everything, it does worry me a bit. Like he has a player option for next season, so I don't even know if he'll be back next year. But if he's not coming back, the Yankees will then have to shift toward finding a new first baseman or playing DJ there full time, and then that just creates other positional problems. The whole thing is just it's just a bit of bad like diligence by Brian Cashman, where it's like last year Rizzo had some problems with his back, and then last year he had COVID that he also was battling with. So it's like there are just some things that it's like maybe we shouldn't have gone for the most injury prone and I don't want to say deteriorating because Rizzo's been fantastic for the most part, except for the last month he's really struggled. But we had other options out there that we could have gone and gotten that would have guaranteed basically 140, 150 games. And instead we chose the cheaper one, the cheapest one of the 3 options. And now we're seeing why Rizzo did not go for 4 or 5 years worth of a contract.
Yeah, absolutely. I understand why the Yankees kind of did. They also didn't want to lock themselves into what would have been a big contract for Freeman, or I guess is a big contract for Freeman than what would be for Matt Olson down the road. But I will say this: like Rizzo has performed well for this team this year. The injuries have been a little bit, dampening at times, hitting the wrong moments. This one definitely comes at a bad time. And Guzman, I'll give you some insight into what he's bringing to this team. So as I said before, he has 4 years of MLB experience. He played 123 games back in 2018 with the Texas Rangers. He had a 235 average with a 30.6% on base rate, hit 16 homers and 50 RBIs. But he did have a 28.3% strikeout rate and 7.7% walk rate. So, nothing the Yankees aren't used to in terms of high strikeouts, giving up, really just giving up strikeouts for homers. His usage slowly deteriorated up to 2021. He played only 7 games last year for Texas. He hasn't made an appearance at the major league level this season. But now we're expecting him to, over that doubleheader tomorrow, probably get a little bit of action. And then for Scranton this year, he's hitting 260 with a 35.6% on base rate, 12 homers and 39 RBIs over 90 games. Has a little bit of power under his belt. So, he's a lefty hitter. He's 6'5". He's a big dude. They're really just like he's Anthony Rizzo light, right? That's kind of what they're going for right now, and just trying to hope that he can provide some slugging power, especially with that short right porch in Yankee Stadium. So, that's what you're looking for, just supplementing his production a little bit. Rizzo hit 2 consecutive homers against the Angels in back-to-back days before he went down on August 31st and was taken out of the lineup. So, loss is big. DJ's dealing with a toe injury, so like we're really kind of trying not to overuse him.
Maybe he's the one that is heading to the IL. Like maybe they're just like, hey, yeah, Rizzo, you're gonna be fine in a couple of days. But DJ, we can literally see the past like 15 games he has done nothing because of that injury. And it's so obvious. He hasn't, what was it? I think the stat yesterday they brought up during the game was that he hasn't had an extra base hit in 20 games. Like this guy was going into August was, in my opinion, now I'm not going to say he was an MVP candidate at all, but he was one of those guys that would get MVP votes going into August. He was incredible. He had like the 3rd most defensive runs saved of any player. Great with the outs above average as well. Played third base, second base, and first base all above average according to Baseball Savant. And then his offensive numbers were elite. He had like 4 F4 going into next month. Like DJ was on pace for probably the best season of his career. And now he went down with that toe injury, came back, and you can just tell he's not all the way back. And I'm worried the Yankees are doing this with all their guys right now because they're not panicking because the Yankees, for whatever reason, choose not to panic and care. But they're like realizing maybe we shouldn't have rushed some of these guys back as quickly as we did. Stanton should not have come back as quickly as he did. Trevino came back and then missed the next 2 games because he fouled another ball off his foot. And he was used as a pinch hitter last night, right? Or no, Trevino started yesterday, sorry. But it's just like you have all these injuries that are like, they may not seem like big injuries and long-term injuries, but when you don't let them properly heal and give them the time off they need, they're going to just linger and get worse. Like I'm willing to bet you DJ's injury right now probably feels worse and is going to look worse than it did 3 weeks ago when he was rushed back off the IL. It's common knowledge that you should not rush back your best players when they're injured. I don't care how much their individual stats matter to them. When you're trying to win a World Series championship this year, do not rush them. Do not push them through pain. People saying, like, I forget who it was a little while ago. I was SNY TV, and he was like going off on how Giancarlo Stanton should just suck it up and play. And it's like, this guy is massive, not just in terms of the physical stature, but in terms of his role and presence on this team. So if he's down and he's playing injured, you're going to notice that, and the rest of the lineup's not going to be able to turn over. And we've seen that with Stanton. He's been struggling. Like, it's just, it's one thing after the next, and it's just annoying because it's like Ronald Guzman's not going to solve any problems. Like, let's be honest. He's going to come up here, probably do a job, get like 12 at-bats, and then be sent back down. And it's like, well, that was, after this season, we'll be like, do you guys remember when Ronald Guzman played? Like, that's what this is going to be looked back on as. But the bigger issue is, if Rizzo his back is truly problematic, or if DJ needs to go on the IL for more than 15 days, this team's going to be scrapping at the bottom of the barrel trying to get by.
Yeah, and there's a conversation that we're going to have tomorrow that I do want to discuss, in the sense that excuse me for my language, but why the fuck is Oswald Peraza sitting on the bench why are they disrupting his development like this? We're going to talk about this tomorrow. This deserves a longer discussion
too, dude. Michael K was like, why is he up?
This deserves a longer discussion, so I don't want to talk about this right now, but tomorrow I want to have this discussion because it's an important one. It makes no freaking sense. The logic is flawed. They're dumb as hell, and I don't understand what they're doing. If you're going to waste away somebody's service time, or I guess the service time doesn't count right now, but if you're going to waste away someone, it should be Estevan Florial, for being honest right now, because we don't have any playing
center the other day.
We don't have any freaking outfielders. Right? We have no freaking outfielders.
And
let the guy play.
Is our right fielder now, from what I can kind of, I guess, see by the way we've been playing recently. It looks like we're trying to play Cabrera in right field a lot more because of how good he is. He's insane in right field.
6 defensive runs saved.
Yeah, it makes no sense. And he's got like 30 innings under his belt in right field, like 40 innings. It's like, this guy is an anomaly. And once his bat comes around, because the last week, I think he's gone like 1 for like 30 the last week.
He has some good at bats, though. He had a sack fly and a couple walks. And
that's the thing. He's at least putting together good at bats, but you can see some of them where it's like, all right, you're swinging underneath a hanging slider, or you're significantly behind that fastball. But then you see other at bats where it's like, all right, you just took a changeup a centimeter off the plate for a walk. Like, great at bat. And he did it yesterday too. He had a fantastic at bat to bring up Stanton with the bases loaded and 2 out, and then Stanton flew out to center field. So like, I'm very happy with what Oswald Cabrera is doing, but the Yankees need to do the same thing with Oswald Peraza. We'll get into this later, but like, if you're going to give the guy that, no offense to Oswaldo, is a lower, like a lesser renowned and a lesser heralded prospect than your star shortstop who you hung on to, why are we not fitting him into the lineup? Just doesn't make sense. And Donaldson does not deserve any at bats at third base. Look, I don't know how his girlfriend or wife is still pregnant. Like, she's been pregnant for like and getting ready to go in labor for like a week now. It's like, come on, JD,
I'm no doctor.
I'm no doctor. Dude. Congrats Definitely. On the baby. Stay out.
Look, at this point, I kind of, we'll talk about this tomorrow, like I said, but IKF definitely, I think, should transition to third. Yes. And I think that Peraza should play it short. But, we'll discuss that, the numbers, why it makes sense, and, what's kind of going on in the infield right now and the kind of fluctuation that's happening. But, guys, I just want to give you a quick update on the Ronald Guzman call-up, what he's offering, why they did it, the inclement weather that is coming and hitting New York currently. It's pretty nasty out there. So definitely unfortunate, but hope you guys are having a great day nonetheless. Make sure to like and subscribe as always, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.